Knuckle out the way, get this snap ring off, press this ball joint out, get the new one pressed in. We still got to replace the torn rack and pinion boots, get them changed out as well. Once we get that ball joint pressed out and back in, then we can move on to the other side. Always clean your bores where your studs go back in. Something I like to do, because putting something back together, you want to make sure it seats properly. Best money you can buy as a technician, especially if you do a lot of front end work. Snap-on ball joint press. Around this bore, get all the dirt, clean the bottom of it, that way ball joint seats good to it too as well. Now it's time to press the new one in. Anytime you're putting ball joints in, you always want to check them and make sure if it's a 360 rotation or not. A lot of the upper ball joints, especially on some of the older Chevrolets, they're actually slotted where they can only pivot one direction. I have seen them come in where they've been put in wrong, and you go to lift the vehicle up and it just snaps the stud right off because it has so much pressure against it, no relief. But most of the time they'll be marked saying mount inboard with an arrow or a green dot, so always pay attention to that. She's in. Always want to make sure it seats up in there good. Make sure you have no gaps. Make sure it's touching. Make sure your snap ring seats well. Another big thing that will save a lot of headache down the road: clock your grease fitting. You know, you see them a lot of times where they'll be pointed over here at the knuckle and you can't get your grease gun to them. Always clock it, that way you can access it, especially doing oil changes, stuff like that. General maintenance is good to pump some grease in them. That's a 360 ball joint stud, so I'm going to turn it to make it a little easier to get the cotter pin in and out. Whoever did it last time had it in a lot harder spot than it needed to be. Use a rag, you don't want to mar that thing up. like to run them down by, just run them up till they touch and give it a little bit of snugness, because you don't want to over torque them. Always go back and torque axle nuts to spec, because if you over tighten them, you're tightening up on that bearing inside, you know, you can get premature wear. So. Keep some old axle nuts around. Helps putting brake rotors back on, hold them in place to get the calipers on. Slide it on there and run your lug nut up. It's a nice little tool here. I don't really use it to spread calipers, I just use it to keep calipers from closing up while they're off, especially if you're working on two sides at one time. Time change these rack and pinion bellow boots. Do your alignment guy a favor. Anytime you take a tie rod off and you got to put it back, even if it's a new one, count the turns, at least get it close for him. Before you take your tie rod out of your knuckle, always try to get the jam nut broke loose and get the inner tie rod spinning in the outer. Save you some headache trying to do it float. This thing is torn on there. That's part of Virginia State inspections. We got to check those. They don't want debris and everything else getting up inside of your rack. Whole lot better having it all together. It's kind of crazy. This truck, they didn't have them listed at the local parts stores. I found them online on our Parts Geek. And that's that. Then I got to do the other side, same thing, lower ball joint, and it's got a split rack and pinion boot as well. So once I get that side in, I'll go around and hit grease fittings on everything, torque it all down, and put cotter pins in it where needed. And then we'll fix some light bulbs that are out for him and get them in alignment. Thanks for watching.